What's up, guys? Hey, hope you're having a great week. Let me just go ahead and state the obvious. I am not Pastor David. So, as you saw last week, I will from now on be sending out the weekly communication as well as the videos. If you didn't watch the videos last week, let me introduce myself again. My name's Dustin McGallagher. I am now the team director here at the campus. I'm super excited and honored to be able to serve with you guys. Before we get into any logistics over the weekend, I just want to share a couple really cool things to celebrate. So last weekend was week 2 at summer at City Hope, and this is pretty rare for church during the summer, but we actually had a record attendance, 526 people. Praise God for that. Now, let me just say this. Things like that only happen because we as a team come together and serve. So you guys had a huge part in us breaking a record attendance. Also, another real cool story I want to share with you really fast is that this weekend, Pastor David was sharing with me, he and his wife got to pray actually with a woman that was at our campus this past weekend, and she's from the Coastal Women's Resource Center. Now, she just recently went through the Rose Center, which Crystal Yarborough is over. Now, if you don't know much about the Rose Center, it's a facility for women who have been sexually abused and caught in sex trafficking. Well, she actually went through that program. Now she's in the Coastal Women's Resource Center. And after the message, Pastor Tim Gocher's message, which was a phenomenal message, she approached Pastor David in the comments, and with just tears filled in her eyes, she was saying how much it touched her heart and that she was needing prayer for some things she was going through in her life. So Pastor David and his wife got to minister to her right there on the spot. And that's the things, stories like that is the reason why we serve. Stories like that, touching people, seeing God touch people's hearts and lives is the reason why we do what we do. And honestly, on a weekend cannot be executed properly unless we have an entire team. And you guys are the life beat of the campus. Our entire team is a heartbeat, the life of the campus. The day-to-day task on Sundays and running a Sunday could not be accomplished without our team. So let me just say thank you to those you guys who are serving faithfully. We appreciate you. You're making a difference. Never think you're not making a difference just because maybe tasks get monotonous, but I promise you, God is using your service and you're making a difference. So let's jump into some of the logistics for the weekend. So this weekend is Father's Day. Let me just say thank you to all the fathers out there. We appreciate you, celebrate you as well. So this weekend, the first thing I'm going to go over is huddles. So I will actually be conducting all of the huddles this weekend. Pastor David and I have decided to do that because I'm still trying to get familiar with a lot of the people on the team, and a lot of the team don't currently know who I am. So I'm trying to get my face out in front of people and introduce myself. And huddles is a great way to do that since we have the whole team here. So this weekend, coaches, don't worry about it. I will be leading huddles probably for the next 2 weeks because we have different rotations. So I'll probably be leading this week and next week. But the following week, I will say just be ready so you guys will be back leading huddles. A couple announcements for just to keep on your calendar. So remember, June 22nd is our serve day. June 22nd, I will actually be leading a team at the Snook Youth Club. We're going to be moving classrooms and helping out some that day. Right now, I have about 12 volunteers signed up. So if you're not currently leading a project or if you're not currently signed up somewhere, let me encourage you. Sign up, come have some fun with us that day and serve people, and it's going to be awesome. So again, I'm leading a team. You can find that on cityhope.cc/serve day. So if you go there, you can sign up for a team, or it's not too late to lead a team neither. So that's June 22nd. Couple announcement for the greeters. So last week we went over this with our teams last week. This is an important protocol that we're actually implementing from here on out. So if you are in service, if you're sitting in service, if you're on guest services, if your team, you're sitting in service, and usually during the prayer we would exit the worship center and get into our spots. As of right now, we are not going to do that anymore. Reason being is because a lot of times there's a lot of noise that's going on out in the commons. And when we open the worship center doors during prayer, it's kind of distracting. Sometimes we're seeing people kind of turn and look behind themselves and see what's going on. So here is a new protocol. If you are in the service, you can stand up and walk to the back, but please just stand at the doors. Don't exit during the prayer. And then once the prayer is over and we celebrate some and people clap, then we can open the doors and then get to our spots. But during the prayer, again, please do not exit if you're in the worship center and you're trying to get back to your spots. Also, just another reminder, coaches, please remind your people on your team, if they decline, just ask them nicely, please, just to leave a reason for why they decline. This is not so that we can knock on people's doors and ask them why they didn't show up to church. This is so that we can better minister to our team. You know, if there are some things that's going on personally in their lives, or if they're in the hospital or whatever the case may be, we want to know so that way we can help them out and minister to them. I actually have a guy who I'm contacting today who declined, and then on his decline, the reason he put was that he had some back issues and he can't stand up for a long period of time. So I'm going to contact him and see if there's an area we can have him serve where he's not on his feet all Sunday. And so reasons like that is why we want people to put a reason if they decline. It just allows us to minister to people more effectively. So please remind your teams if they're declining, that's not a problem. Just please put a reason so that we know. Also, something I'm super excited about, we have a new team member this week. Her name is Kathy Fontenot. So she's going to be on Scott Wallace. She's going to be on your team, the 8 o'clock team. I've already reached out to her, sent her an email. She's gone through orientation. We just need to get her some shadow training this week. So if you see her on Sundays, just let's celebrate her and welcome her to the team, please. Parking team. So here's a team logistics parking team. Just a reminder, if you're on the 8 a.m. service, coaches, please remind your parking teams to be there by at least 7:15. That way we can get the flags out, get everything set up. So we do have a special thing that we're implementing this weekend for Father's Day. We'll have a couple of vintage cars out front. So we will those cars will already be here probably about 7 o'clock. We'll already have some spots coned off for them. So you won't have to worry too much about that. Let's just keep an eye out for maybe small children and things of that nature, trying to maybe climb on the cars and stuff like that. There's not too much we need to handle there. It'll pretty much already be handled by the time you get to the church. 11 a.m. team, just a reminder, coaches, make sure you're reminding your team if you're on the 11 a.m. team to close the storage trailer. Make sure it's closed completely and the keys are placed back in the cabinet. So if the door is kind of tricky, you have to pick up on it a little bit to close it. So let's make sure that's done and then make sure the keys are back in the cabinet. Greeter team. Not much to say about the greeter team. Let's just remember we'll have some signs out front, some super greeter signs, and then also the protocol I just talked about as far as the end of service. Just remember to remind your teams about that. Usher team, let's make sure we continue to put envelope cards, put envelopes, response cards, and pins. Let's make sure we restock those after service. Also, something I want us to pay attention for is just trash, any trash that's left over after each service. I did find a few coffee cups in the worship center this week, so let's just make sure we're looking for that in between each service, make sure we're getting up any trash, so that way the next guests that come in, that we're make sure we're prepared and everything's clean for them. One last team here, Common Grounds, two more Common Grounds. Make sure that the inventory list is filled out. Everything's pretty simple there. And then the Connect team, just remember, make sure we keep our eyes peeled for new guests. And if you see any new guests, let's make sure to approach them, shake their hand, introduce yourself. A cool way to introduce yourself, always like to use, is you ask the person who they are, And then a good cue to ask someone is, if you're on the Connect team, ask them, how long how long have you been coming to City Hope? So that's a good way to introduce yourself. Reason being is because I unfortunately have made the mistake that, I've asked people, hey, is this your first time at the campus? And they've been serving for like a year. And then I felt really dumb because I didn't know who they were. So if you see a potential new person, just approach them, shake their hand, introduce yourself. A simple, hey, how long have you been coming here works? And then that's it. So one last little logistic thing. So we will have donuts again for Father's Day today. We do have a couple of teams already committed to helping out with those. We'll have those outside along with the popsicles, and we'll be giving those out at the end of each service. So that's for the dads, and then I'm sure we would have enough if some kids want some, and then that's it. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your service. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you again, and I hope the rest of your week is blessed. I'm praying for you guys. Thank you so much. I will see you Sunday.